Hello, everyone. This is John Galt speaking. Here with a live stream video for you guys. So I made 2 videos yesterday, and I bitched quite a bit because, normally that's what I do. I just piss and moan all the time. Not really. But some things do do tend to annoy me. And so one of the complaints that I had was about the lack of funding in my endeavors here, trying to sell products on the marketplace and create tutorials that you have to pay for on Udemy to get. And so a subscriber who has been subscribed to this channel for quite some time now, he sent me an email yesterday evening, and he asked me if he could fund the creation of a video or a few videos. Apparently, this guy likes the way that I talk. He likes the way that I explain things. He likes the way that I teach. He likes my dry sarcasm. He likes my humor. And so he sent a fairly big contribution, and to you know who you are, right? So I'm not going to tell people who you are because you asked me not to, which I understand that, right? People, mind your own business. It doesn't matter. Okay? And so after he sent me that email, we exchanged emails back and forth a little bit and kind of had a conversation. And I kind of asked him, I was like, so what exactly do you want me to make this video about? You're paying for it. You're funding it. You get to pick what you want it to be. And he told me that really it doesn't matter. You can make whatever video you want to make. Just make it something that you think people would benefit from. Everybody at large, not just specifically him. So this is a cool guy, right? And he said he didn't have to be here live, just make it whenever I felt like it, and that he would watch it live if he happened to be home whenever I was doing it, or he would watch it after the fact. Okay. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I get to pick, I get to choose what it is that I do. And so, one of the things that I think people lack when it comes to the skills required in order to actually be a game dev, not just somebody screwing around on the weekend, farting around with, little one-off mechanics and little one-off tutorials. One of the things that people lack, in my opinion, everything that I say on this YouTube channel or anywhere really is my personal opinion. Okay. You guys can agree with it. You can disagree with it, whatever. It makes no difference. I'm not here to argue with people about, oh no, that's not the problem. This is the problem. Everybody's got their own idea. So anyway, what I was getting at is the lack of troubleshooting. That's one thing. Like, so you've got this project, they upgraded the engine, shit broke. You don't know why it broke. You don't understand why it broke. You don't know how to find out what broke. You don't know how to get to the root of the issue. That's one thing. And another thing is the complexity involved in creating a project that involves more than a simple little one-off mechanic. Okay. In other words, it's really easy to make a tutorial for, okay, so how do you open a door? That's easy. You can make that tutorial in probably 5 minutes. And, a lot of tutorials are that way. And that is exactly why a lot of people are conditioned into believing that if they are looking for a tutorial video and they happen to find a video for something that they want to know about that is more than 10 minutes long, well, then they automatically want to watch that video. Okay. And if the opposite's true, like you find a tutorial on you know, a specific topic, but it's an hour long, well, they automatically just, oh shit, I ain't got an hour to waste watching this bullshit. Now, granted, I'm going to grant you guys this. Some people only need a 5-minute tutorial and they can figure out the rest for themselves. Okay? How to integrate that one simple little thing into the overall complexity of their full project. However, the majority of people have no idea that, okay, so let's say you've got this project and it's got a whole bunch of different mechanics in it. And all you want to do is add one simple little mechanic to all the mechanics that already exist in the project. When that's the case, sometimes you have to touch 18 different blueprints in order to get that one single goddamn mechanic in and working properly. Okay? And a lot of people don't get that and they don't understand that. And so what I've decided, since he gave me the leeway to make a video about whatever the hell I choose to, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to do some debugging. We're going to do some project integration, like take one project and try to shoehorn it into another project so that both of those together form Voltron and you defeat the whole entire galaxy. Okay, that kind of stuff. Now, guys, I will honestly tell you, I would rather sit in my front yard and eat dirt with a spoon as to try to migrate two projects together. Specifically, two projects that are built by two different people. So, in other words, take a project that I created and try to migrate it with the advanced locomotion system that's free on the UE4 marketplace. Okay? It's bad enough to try to migrate two projects together that are created by the same person. For example, me, if I take one of my projects and another one of my projects and try to stuff them together, I don't even like to do that. Okay? Let alone trying to take this project from this content creator, this project from this content creator, and this one from this guy, and try to weave them all together and make something work out of that. I'd rather sit in the yard and eat dirt, honestly. But I understand also why people would want to try to do that, okay? And the reason that I believe people would want to do that is, okay, so I've got this advanced locomotion system, and I really like the way that it works. I like the animations that are in it. I like the way the characters move. I like everything about it. Problem is, that's all it is, okay? There ain't no shooting the guns. There ain't no health on the characters. There ain't no damage. There ain't no respawn. There ain't none of that stuff. So what they try to do is say, okay, I'm going to take that advanced locomotion system, and then I'm going to go buy John Galt's shooter project, which you should, if you haven't, you should. And I'm going to try to take all the shooting mechanics and everything he's got and cram it onto this advanced locomotion character. And then I'll have awesome animations, awesome locomotion, and awesome shooting mechanics because of Galt. Okay? So I understand why people want to do that. Problem is, the majority of the time, I find it harder to try to merge two projects like that together than if you just build it all yourself from scratch. Okay? I do. I seriously find it harder to do that kind of stuff than if I'd have just built every damn bit of it myself. Okay? And, you know, the reason is every person that creates content, whether it be tutorial videos or whether it be projects on the marketplace, every game dev has their own little style that they do things. Some people do things extremely complex, and some people do things really, really simply. And if you take the complex version, let's say that we're trying to put a mechanic in a game. Never mind what it is, just a gun on a character and the character able to shoot the gun. Never mind the health and damage and all that stuff. Okay? Never mind. Let's just say that two different people want to put a gun, put a weapon on a character and have that weapon have the ability to shoot, display muzzle flashes, make sound effects when it shoots, make impacts when it shoots, and fire projectiles. You could give two developers that same task, and both of them would do it completely different from each other. Okay? You'd have one person that would make 88 functions, and they'd create 33 child blueprints, and all this stuff, and it would work, and it would do exactly what they asked them to do. And then you would have another person that would have one blueprint, two blueprints, two functions, and it do the exact same thing. So some developers like to make things seem extremely complicated, and some developers just try to get the shit done as easily as possible. Now, let me ask you guys a question. And let's say that in that scenario, they both work exactly the same. You load into the game, your character has a gun, the gun can shoot, the muzzle flashes play, the particle effects display, the sound effects play, the impact effects play, and the impact sounds. And they both work exactly the same way. They're as equally efficient. They look as equally good. They're as equally responsive. Everything's exactly the same. The only difference is you try to figure out how this guy did it, and you're digging through 72 macros, 33 functions, 44 blueprint interfaces, and 22 child blueprints. Okay? And then you have this guy, you look at one weapon blueprint and one projectile blueprint and two functions. Which one of those would you rather try to learn from and or use or adapt into your project? Well, the answer ought to be perfectly obvious. The fucking easy one. Okay? People are lazy, right? I'm lazy. And so as I've been doing this and working in this engine, I have my own style of doing things. I have my own way of doing things. And I do not and have not ever tried to take something that's pretty simple to understand and grasp the concept of and try to simply overcomplicate it just for the sake of making it look complicated. Okay? And so this guy that decided to fund this video, that is the exact reason why he's been following my YouTube channel since about the third day that I actually started posting any content on this YouTube page, which was in 2015, I believe. So he's been around here for a long time. And he has learned more from me than he has learned anywhere else. This guy has actually already released 3 of his own games on Steam. I'm not telling you what they are because he told me not to. I'm not telling you who this guy is because he told me not to. I'm not telling you how much the contribution he made was because he told me not to. And I do not want to do something that he didn't want me to do. So this guy's already, he started learning how to game dev, bruh, when I started, which was back in about 2015. And he's been following this channel ever since. You know, he watches every video I put out, regardless of what the damn title is, regardless of what stupid ass thumbnail I put up, regardless of what I ramble about. He's watched every single video. This guy is crazy dedicated. Then again, he could be a stalker, right? Like, I have no idea. And it really doesn't matter because I ain't afraid of shit, just to be honest with you. And so when he contacted me, every time he contacts me, I always have a conversation with him. And he's like, man, you know, you said in your live stream yesterday that you do not understand why you have not been able to gain any traction. Meaning, when I was bitching in yesterday's live stream about, look, I've been doing this shit since 2015 and I've got what, 1,700 subscribers. Yet some jackass starts a YouTube page a month ago and he's got 100,000 subs already, right? I don't get it. Right? And he's like, so do you really want to know the answer to that? And I said, yeah, what do you think? Give me some insight. What do you think my problem is? What do you think is the reason why I don't get no more traction and or support than I do? You know what he said? And it really cracked me up. He was like, well, I'll tell you why. It's because you do not coddle people and you do not look down on people and you do not try to pretend like you're some kind of an elitist. And people, and he, you know, I agree with him. People, for some reason, want to be elite. And when you make them feel like they are not part of that crowd, they don't want to be around that. They don't want to be around someone who is really good at what they do, but they're humble enough to say, hey, look, you guys can do this. This is not a problem. Let me show you how, right? Some people take game dev as a secret covenant witchcraftery. In other words, ha ha ha, look what I can do. Don't you wish you could do that? Well, I'm not going to tell you how. Figure it out your damn self, right? That kind of attitude. And I'm exact opposite of that. If I make some groundbreaking discovery, I want to share it. I'm like, holy shit, guys, look at this. You guys have no idea how long I worked on trying to figure out how to do this. And turns out it's simple to do, but yet I tried to use this for reference, or I tried to read this document from Epic, and they made it sound like, you know, it's Egyptian hieroglyphics and a feat of magic in order to make that happen. And I did it. The same thing that, you know, they sat and done an hour live stream trying to explain how they did it. I did it in 15 minutes. And on top of that, anybody can open it up, look at it and say, oh, all right, well, I see exactly what he did there. And so that was his explanation as to why I don't get any more traction. It's because I don't treat this like some elite group that is to be praised and set up on a pedestal. Call me crazy, call him crazy, but that's exactly what the man said. And I agree with him. And the thing is I'm never going to change. I am who I am, a good old country boy that is really, really good at problem solving, regardless of what the problem is. It could be game dev problems. It could be political problems. It could be religious problems. It could be car problems. I'm just good at fixing problems. And the thing about game dev is the vast majority of game dev is simply solving problems. Oh shit, well now this is broke. Well, why is that broke all of a sudden? Well, let me dig in here and see if I can figure out why it's broke. And so there you have it. So let me get me a drink here and we'll get started and we'll talk. We'll get into, you know, what we're going to do today. And I may make this guy more than one video. More than one. And because I couldn't believe it. The contribution this guy sent, I was like, you got to be shitting me. And I was like, that's got to be a typo. Like he's added an extra zero there that he didn't mean to put. So that's why after I got it, I contacted him. I'm like, hey, did you mean to do this? And he's like, yeah, I absolutely meant to do that. I was like, you do realize that's a lot of money. And he's like, don't worry about it, man. I got you. And I was like, well, all right. So that's when we had the discussion about, well, what the hell do you want me to do? I mean, you've already got 3 games on Steam that are selling good. What the hell do you want from me? And he was like, I want you to just do what you do. act a fool, cuss the engine out, break shit, and then try to unbreak it. Whatever it is you want to do, just roll with it. I was like, all right, well, I can do that. That's not hard to do. Okay, so what we're going to do is, so yesterday's stream, one of yesterday's stream, I gave you guys a gift. You guys remember that? Did you watch the stream? If you didn't, you should have. I gave you guys this project that I call Simple Steam Teams, and it's in 4.15, and we talked a lot about it. I showed you guys what it does and kind of what you can do with it and all this stuff. But what you guys may not know, let me go to my YouTube page. However the hell I do that. New window, I guess. I don't know how to operate this stuff. And I'm going to inform you guys. Some of you guys may already have this. Some of you guys may have actually watched me build this, because I actually built this on live stream, I believe, on several live streams. So let me see if I can find it. You know, it really sucks that I go back and talk about old videos and stuff, but you know, people just, they have the attention span of a rabid ferret on crack. Oh, look, a butterfly. They get distracted really easy. So right here, there's a video called Let's Try to Build Some Basic Locomotion Using Lyra, Part 1. And then this one says no audio, working on basic locomotion. So I just streamed some stuff there and I didn't even talk. And then we have this one here, says adding more to my basic locomotion animations, some final steps for my locomotion with a Lyra, blah, blah, blah. So I did all that on live stream, and I'll let you guys watch me build that in real time. And then at the end of that, I think on one of these videos, there's a link that I put on there. I was like, okay, after I built this, I was like, here, you guys can just have this if you want it. Here, have it. Okay. And so what I'm going to do now is show you guys where that's at, because we're going to be using that at some point. So let me go to my Google Drive here. And I'm going to link this in chat for you guys. And I'll also pin it in the comments again. After the video's over, of course. So this is that little folder from yesterday's video where I told you guys you could have that little Simple Steam Teams project. And I showed you guys about it and how to use it and all that stuff. Also, in this very same folder, this is where you can test all the products that I sell on the UE4 marketplace. And also, there is one here called TPS Starter Zip. That is that project that I built in those series of videos. I gave it away. Here, you guys can have it. So it's in here too. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm probably going to go ahead and download this. We may not get to this part today. I don't know yet. But I'm going to go ahead and download it just to have it, just in case we will. So it's downloading, it's downloading, it's downloading, and it's done. Okay. So use that link and go get this if you want it. If you haven't got it already, you might not want it. So let me go dig this out wherever in the Sam's hell it put it, which is right here. And I'm going to drag that right here. Just kind of let it go. Okay, so in yesterday's video, we talked quite a bit about troubleshooting, debugging, and all that stuff with this Simple Teams project, right? Because this was built in Unreal Engine version 4.15. And as time has went on, 4.16, 4.17, 4.18, blah, 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 blah. Well, there come a point when they broke it. And, you know, So this has went through several iterations over the years. Okay. And, so in yesterday's video, I showed you guys how you could kind of upgrade it to Unreal Engine 5. But when we went to Unreal Engine 5, the first version of Unreal Engine 5, it worked kind of, but sort of didn't, but broke, right? And then we took it to the most current engine version, which is 5.2, and somehow magically it just fixed itself and worked. Okay? And I told you guys, every single update they do to this engine, they fuck with stuff and they break stuff. Sometimes you get lucky and you can figure out how they broke it and fix it. And sometimes you just as well piss yourself up a rope because it's so broke, you just simply can't fix it. And so I'm going to take this project back into Unreal Engine 5, the very first Unreal Engine 5, and we're going to see if we can't make it work in that version of Unreal Engine, not the newest one, Unreal Engine 5, because this guy likes to see me figure out, well, what in the fuck is wrong with this piece of shit all of a sudden, okay? So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to extract this, and yeah, no, not that way. We're going to say WinRAR, extract files, and I'm going to put that in my documents in my Unreal Projects folder, just like so. And we're going to go in here and we're going to beat the living dog piss out of this thing and see if we can't make it work in the first version of Unreal Engine. Never mind updating it to the newest. Right? We're going to make it work in this one. And it's important. See, the reason that guy wants me to do this kind of stuff is, think about it for a second. He's already got 3 games live, okay, on Steam, paid for. You have to buy these games. They're not free. And he's sold a lot of them. And once again, if he shows up in chat, he can post the links to that if he chooses to, but he asked me not to. He wants to remain anonymous. So with him having 3 games, I'm sure there's a lot of shit that breaks, and he has to go in there and figure out what's broke. How did it break? Can he fix it? If he can't fix it, what can he do to correct it some other way? And so he likes these kind of videos. No gamer likes a broken game. Believe me, they don't. I know this, man. So we already know that this project works in Unreal Engine 4.15, 4.16, 4.17, 4.18, 4.19, blah, blah, blah. We already know that. We did that in yesterday's video. So I'm going to upgrade this, but we're going back to Unreal Engine 5.0.3, which is the very first version of Unreal Engine 5. That's where we're going, because that's where the problem was. When we went from this to this, it seemed to clear itself up, but I want to know what in the hell broke. Okay. Okay. Some people absolutely hate these videos. It's astounding to me that this guy paid the amount of money that he did for me to make a video or a couple videos about the thing that most people hate. I don't get that. This he's a sadist, maybe. I don't know. But whatever, it's his dime, okay? So we're going to go upgrade this project. We're going into my documents, Unreal Projects. In here, we right-click the exe file, and we say show more options. And we say switch Unreal Engine version. And we're going to 5, babe. And then we're going to run this beast. And let's figure out what in the actual hell is broken. We found one that was pretty easy to find, but the other one, I was like, what in the damn shit is going on now? Okay. So we're going to start out by just hitting the play button. Okay. And this is the main menu. And we're going to go in here. So the landscape physical materials, that's not a big deal. We already knew that. So let's go the multiplayer route. Oh, here's the first problem, right? So when I hit play that time, it tells me here, yeah, something's broke. And if you click this, it takes us to what's broke, right? Remember, we found this in yesterday's video. And basically, this one wasn't hard to find because the engine detected it and led me right to the problem. And essentially what happened is they deprecated this player name variable and they switched it to a function. Get player name, right? They changed it from a variable to a function. And so to correct that one, all we had to do was that. Okay, so that wasn't no big deal at all. Okay, so now we can hit the play button again. We don't get that error. We go to multiplayer, host game, and everything's right. So then the next part of this that was broken was when we went into two menus, right? So we go into this advanced settings here, and we switch this over to be 720 by 512. And then we go to net mode, play as listen server. And then we go to number of players, that would be dos playos. And we play in new editor windows, clients here, servers here, listen server. And where it broke was here, right? So if I hit multiplayer, host game, we host up a game, we join the team, everything was good. And then this one tries to find that game, and it does. And we click it, and then we get a black screen, and then it sits there and does this. You guys remember that from yesterday's video? Do you remember the time yesterday? And I was like, well, shit, what are we going to do now? And so, I kind of read through this error here, and it really didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me, right? So you guys can feel free to read that all you want to. And, you know, you're pretty much on your own at this point. Okay, because if you submit a bug to Epic, yeah, they're going to contact you right back and tell you, yeah, let me tell you exactly how to fix that. You guys know that ain't how that works, right? You could submit these till Jesus comes back and they could give a damn. Okay. Now, if you are a paying customer, meaning you're, you know, the guys that made World War Z or, you know, some game using their engine, oh yeah, they're going to give you a call. Right, but just some average Joe who does this for whatever, they're not going to give you a call, okay? And so that's where we're at. That's where we're broke. Okay? Now, I'm going to maximize this here, and I'm going to let you guys take a screenshot or pause the video and look through all this, and while the stream's going here, or even after, don't cheat though. Look at this bug report here and see if you can figure out what you think might be causing this. Okay. And in that meantime, I'm going to use the redneck John Galt version of trying to figure out, okay, can we even fix this? Okay. Because that's what that guy wants to see. Okay, here we go. Prepare yourself. All right, so we already know all the respawn mechanics are working. All the team color stuff is working. Everything's working. The problem is when we try to connect two together, one host and one join, it black screens and goes to shit. Okay? Okay. So my very next question is, what if we don't do it as a listen server? Like, is there some other thing that we can do here? Like net mode, play as a client? Can we do this? So this says client 2. and this says client 1. So theoretically, it should be having a server hosted in the background, and this is 2 clients. So if we go to multiplayer, find games, search, let's see if it finds a server. No sessions found. So no, that ain't how that works. Access none, trying to read BP, main menu ref, blah, blah, blah. Well, it didn't like that worth a shit. Okay, so let's try it a different way. So let's say play standalone. And let's play again and try that. Let's see if we can find a server. No sessions found. So that don't work either. All right, let's play. Well, see, it's already set and say play as standalone. So maybe we need to do standalone here. Let's try that. Okay. So we got 2 screens here. Let's see if it'll find a game. I assume it's still not gonna. Nope. Let's just try this one just for giggles. I know it ain't gonna work though. Nope. So the only thing I see that we can do is play as a listen server. And maybe let's play as a listen server, okay? Except let's do standalone game and see if it pops up 2 screens. I thought, maybe I'm wrong, I thought that if you did it that way, it would put a server running in the background and then you could just connect. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Nope, it ain't gonna. So really the only thing we can do that I can think of is play as listen server and do new editor windows. Unless maybe we can do selected viewport. Will that give us one in the... Yeah, but see, that's still client 1. So this is going to be the same thing. So if I try to host here, that'll work. And then where did that other screen go? Right here. Multiplayer, find games. It's going to do the same thing, I'm quite sure. And it gives the exact same bug report, so there's really no reason for me to show you guys that again. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is see if it is a editor issue. Okay. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. Fine. Have it your way. The next thing I want to know is what happens if I package this out? Does it still do the same damn thing? Let's see, shall we? Okay, so let's go into project settings, and we got to enable the Windows platform. So supported platforms, we got to check this box true. And then we're going to say platforms, and we're going to package this for Windows here on the desktop. All right, let's package it, and then we'll go see if that fixes anything. And also the mentality behind why I'm doing this is I'm trying to determine, is it something that I did? Like, is there something in my scripting that's causing this? Or is it literally an internal problem with the engine when you're trying to run 2 windows together, One is a host and one is a client, right? That's what I'm trying to determine for the guy that asked for these videos. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Isn't it? Because you end up chasing your tail around in a circle, okay? If you're trying to correct a problem in your project that has not got anything to do with the way that this project is built, and it's something to do with the editor, then you're just chasing your tail around in a circle. Does that make sense? Right? How can you diagnose and fix something that has to do with the way the engine is built, not the way the project is built? So that's what I'm trying to determine, and this ought to answer that, okay? So we packaged it out here, and I'm going to open this up, and we're going to run the project here. I'm going to host up a game, and then I'm going to hit the Alt-Tab key, and I'm going to run another version of the same project, and we're going to find games. And, hey, look. So then if we go join the blue team, well, looky there. Looky there. So it's not my scripting problem, which more than likely means that we're fucked. Because I cannot crack open Unreal Engine source code and try to figure out what's actually broken. Okay, so there it is. It works perfectly fine when you package it out. Okay. So that answers the riddle. So what can we do at this point? John Galt, what would you do now? Well, I don't really know. I don't really know. I suppose now that we did that, what we should probably do is start all over again. Okay? And here's what I mean by that. So delete the package build, and we're going to go into the My Documents here. And we're going to delete that project. Quality control, people. If you've got 88 versions of the same project, how do you know which one you've checked what in? Right? So we're going to do that. And then we're going to re-extract it again. Back into My Documents. And we're going to start back over again. Right? We're going to get back to where we were. Okay? All right, and so let's exit out of this and relaunch it. And just so you guys know, when I was talking yesterday about being a content creator and every time they update the engine, all the bullshit content creators have to go through, this is a prime example of that, okay? And that's why I hate updates. So we're going to go back in here, and we're going to fix that first problem, which was the deprecated player name variable. And we're going to replace it with that function. And then we're going to continue bug hunting. So we have some information at this point. If you package the project, it works fine. But when you're in the editor and you're trying to do it, ain't happening. Okay? Well, shit, we got to upgrade it first, right? So we got to get back to Unreal Engine 5. Oops, my bad. So we got to go back in here and upgrade it. Simple step. I forgot. Not a big deal. Right click. More options. Switch Unreal Engine version. And we're going to 5. And here we go. Okay, so we know the one problem, which is that in the player state, which is this blueprint, they deprecated that node. So we got to delete that again and type get player name and put this function in. Okay. And then we need to get back to two windows. So let's go ahead and do all that crap again. And I ain't going to talk through this again. You guys know what I'm doing here. We're going back to listen server. Client here. Server here. And let's go ahead and crash it out one more time. So let's host us up a match here. And I tried to join and boom, there we go. So I'm going to read through this bug report thing one more damn time, which honestly, it doesn't make a whole heap ton of sense to me. I can't figure out what in the hell it's even trying to say here. And if you hit Control V here, that's the exact same thing. That's another bug report. So it's the same exact one. Okay, so let me read through this again. Assertion failed. PIE, which is play in editor. And that's what that is, that you do the new editor windows. That's what it is. It's play in PI, play in editor. Instance ID not equal index underscore none file d/build/++ U5 sync engine source runtime core U object private blah blah. I mean, what in the hell does that even mean? I'm not a programmer, so I have no fucking idea. And if we look down through this stuff, it's saying editor, core object, editor, right? So all these pertain to the editor, which is exactly why when I packaged this and tested it in a package build, it worked. It's because there is something happening with the editor. That means in the engine. That ain't got nothing to do with this blueprint I scripted or that blueprint. It's literally telling me that the editor crashed, okay? And more specifically, it's the play-in editor that's doing it. Now, I'm not a coder, I'm not a scripter, and I don't know. But we do not give up here in Galt's Gulch. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to figure out what in the damn hell is going on here. You guys think I'm bullshitting you, don't you? You'll never figure that out, Galt. You'll never figure it out. Oh, the hell we won't. We will figure it out. I don't care if I have to make 18 videos. We'll figure this out. Okay? All right. So we're going back in here. Tag me. We're going back in. Okay. So here we are. So my next question is there something wrong in a blueprint that is not being detected? Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Just because it found that one problem, remember when I tried to play and it popped up and said, hey, dumbass, are you sure you want to do that? Because there is a compiler problem in this blueprint. And that's how we found in the player state right here, that's how we found that deprecated node. Okay, remember that? Now, every other thing seems to be working, right? Like it's not detected any more problems is what I'm saying here. But just because it hasn't detected any more problems doesn't mean that there aren't some. So at this point right here, there is, now remember, I'm talking to this guy, right? And I'm trying to share my mentality more about, about what, okay, well now what? Because imagine for a moment that this is happening in your live game that you're selling to the public, and you have an entire game base, right, that is pissed at you because they can't play the game that they bought. Okay? That's the perspective that you have to look at this from, not, well, all right, piss on it. Right? See, remember in the other video that I said there's a difference between being a game dev and a pretend to be a game dev, right? This is what separates the men from the boys. You have 3 live games. They're all built using the Unreal Engine, and this problem happened, right? That means you've got 3 player bases from 3 different games that are pissed at you. You're losing money. You're getting forum posts. This game sucks. This guy sucks. I want my money back. I'm giving him a thumbs down. He's getting 1 star. You guys know how people are, right? That's the perspective we're looking at this from. So, what do I do now? Okay, well, we found one problem and we fixed it. Okay, but that's not the problem. The problem is you cannot host a game and have others join you, but you can in a packaged build. So, here is where I would say, well, we're not dead because the player base is not being affected by this bug, because it's only happening in the dev build, right? So pretend you've got a live game and you're working on your next update for the game that's supposed to come out next month, right? All the new stuff that you're adding to your game. And you, in the editor, have encountered this problem, okay? So what do? Well, the current game player base is not being affected by this bug. They're on the previous version of this, and it's still working perfectly fine. However, all the work that I'm trying to do is, in fact, being affected because I cannot test the new stuff that I have built into this game, because it is preventing me from being able to do that, because when I try to hook up a host and a client, it locks up and dies. However, if we package this project, it works. It's an editor issue. So I continue to add the stuff that I'm adding to my new update that's coming out and coming live next month. But in order for me to be able to test any of that stuff, I have to package, go test it, find out if it's working. If it's not, I have to come back in here, try to correct what's not working correctly, package it again, okay, go test it again. So it's a problem. Like literally, you're going to waste a ton of time updating, package it, test it. Damn, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Change this in here, package it again, retest it. Do you guys see the pattern here? So this is a problem for a developer, definitely. So what would I do? This is my game. Let's say this is my 3 games, or my game that I'm trying to do. What the hell would I actually do? Well, I wouldn't give up just yet. I wouldn't say, okay, well, I'm just going to have to continue doing what I'm doing, package the damn thing, and go test it every single time that I make a modification or whatever. I wouldn't give up yet. However, I do have in the back of my mind, that's an option, okay? So if I can't fucking figure this out in a day, 2 days, a couple hours, whatever time I decide that I'm going to allot to trying to figure this out, my backup plan is to continue doing what I need to do in order to make my update date. And I will package this son of a bitch and test it in between everything that I'm doing. However, I don't want to do that. So we're not done. We're going to figure this out. Okay, so what would I do next? Okay, well, the very next thing that I would do is I would open up every single blueprint that I have and recompile them just to make absolutely sure that there's not some other deprecated node or something that is in one of these blueprints that is not being detected by the engine like the other one did. So, and depending on the game that you've made and depending on the complexity, this could take a damn hot minute, okay? So, assets, well, this is nothing but, you know, materials and meshes. So that's not got any coding to it whatsoever. Then we got blueprints. So I have a gameplay blueprint, which is the team start. So I'm going to start there. I'm literally going to open this. There's nothing in the event graph. And that's all there is to it. The construction script, that's fine, but I'm going to hit recompile and save, and it didn't give any errors. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, there's nothing wrong with the damn player start. Then we have this one called player. And in here we have an enumerator, which is not a blueprint. And we have a HUD, a player controller, and a player state. So I'm going to open this. I don't see any compiler errors, but I'm going to go ahead and recompile it and save it anyway and just make double sure that there's not something broken in here. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing for every blueprint. So I'm not going to just keep repeating myself over and over. Hey, look, when I compiled this one, look, it's still showing that it's dirty. So I'm going to recompile it again and save it. All right, so that, I don't know, was that the thing? I don't know, but I'm not quitting until I do this to every one. So I'm going to open the player state. I'm going to compile it and save it. I don't see any errors or anything, so that one seems to be good. And then we're going to move into the system. This is the game instance. I'm going to open this, recompile it, save it. Everything seems to be fine. Game mode. I'm going to recompile it and save it. Oh, see, look, that one did it too. Do you see that? Now I know I'm not losing my mind here. It was green when I came in here. I recompiled it and saved it, and now it's back yellow again. Is that the thing? I don't know, but I am noticing that, right? So we'll save it again. All right, that looks fine. The game state, we will recompile it and save it. Ah, look at that. Look, it did it again. Is that what's causing it? I don't know. Seems a little peculiar to me, though. So we'll recompile it and save it again until it does not do that again. If I don't see green right there, it's probably a problem. I'm just saying. All right, so we're done with that. Now we're going to go into this characters folder, into the blueprints, and we're going to open the character blueprint. See, it's green. Compile it, save it. See, that one didn't do that. I'm going to do it again. Compile, save. Seems fine. So let's open the spectator pawn blueprint. We will compile that and save it. Everything seems fine. I know this is repetitive, isn't it? Me saying this, but you guys see, he wants to know the mentality. Like, what the hell are you going to do? Well, I'm going to fucking figure this out. Regardless of what I have to do. Compile it, save it. This is the animation blueprint, by the way. So that seems good. All right. And then this is just the UE4 mannequin. So that's just a skeletal mesh. That's not it. We have some maps. I'm going to wait on the maps, but it might be a good idea to rebuild those too, right? Like it might be. Okay, so we're going to go into the widgets because the widgets are blueprints, right? They're called blueprint widgets. So we got a match winner blueprint. I'm going to compile that, save it. Didn't give me no problem. The player list, compile that and save it. I don't see a problem here. We will compile that, save it. Don't seem to be no problems here. You guys tired of hearing me say that yet? You probably are, but that's okay. This video is for that guy. Main menu, let's go in here. Compile, save. All right. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing here. Every single damn blueprint. Now, did you guys notice something? For some reason, this one's showing it ain't saved. So by compiling and saving one of these, I think it may have dirtied this one up. I don't know, but I didn't notice that, I don't think, when I first came in here. That's just a note. I'm just saying, I noticed that. Maybe that's a problem, maybe it ain't. Recompile it and save it. Everything looks good. Moving along to the player. Widgets for the player. Looks fine. That looks fine. So I went through this project and I just recompiled and saved all these blueprints again. I did not find any errors. However, I did notice that some of the blueprints were dirty when I went into them. I did notice that after I compiled and saved them, some of them turned back dirty again, and I recompiled it and saved it again, and it seemed to fix it. And I did notice that when we got to this one of these blueprints I compiled, I think dirtied up this one. And if you guys look here, this is the one that comes up when you first join the server. Remember? It allows you to pick your team or whatever. Could that have been what it was? I do not know, but we're fixing to find out. Okay. So now that we did all that, I'm going to test. Let's see. Did that magically cure this? Probably not, but we're going to give it a whirl anyway. Okay, so we need to host a game. See, that's the first one that comes up. So red. All right. Moment of truth. We go to multiplayer, find games. And black screen of death. Tried. It was a good try, but nope, that didn't do it. Okay. All right. We're not done. We're not quitting. We do not give up. I am the most stubborn, persistent person you will ever meet. And when something gets in my craw, I will figure it out or I will die trying. I have never given up on anything in my entire life. Now, keep in mind that if you watched yesterday's video, you guys already know there's a fix for this. What is the fix? The fix is to upgrade to the most current engine version, right? Because remember in yesterday's video, we did it and it worked. But what if that version of the engine didn't exist? See, because think about this project for a minute. This is Unreal Engine 5. How long between when Unreal Engine 5 came out did it take for us to get to Unreal Engine 5.2? How long did that take? It probably took a while, Okay, so we're pretending like there is no Unreal Engine 5.2 to save us. That's what we're pretending here. And obviously I just blowed it up. Okay, so something I did, it didn't like, you know, and yes, you could restore this and you could, but since what we corrected so far, all we really did was replace one deprecated node in the player state, remember? So I'm not even going to try to restore this. I'm just going to say, okay, well, it did not like what I did. I recompiled and saved every blueprint, and that didn't change a damn thing. Okay, so I'm going to delete everything, go back to the original 5.0 version, fix the player state, that deprecated node, and we're not going to recompile and save all these blueprints again. That was a shot in the dark, and obviously that didn't fix it. Okay, so now, granted, I could still do this and it would probably be just fine, but I don't want to take any chances. Remember, we've got an update coming up, and we're going to have a bunch of pissed off players, right? So we're not taking any chances, because it doing what it just did, it could likely cause another problem. We don't need other problems already. We've already figured out what the problem is. When we're in the editor and we try to host one in one screen, join in the other, it black screens and crashes. We can package it and test it and it'll work fine. But we need to be able to do this in the editor, right? So we're not taking any chances of creating new problems by, you know, screwing something up. So I'm going to exit out of this. We're going to go in here and delete that. Remember, this is for that guy. Normally, I would probably just go right ahead, but I'm just showing him what he wanted me to show him exactly how I would handle something like this. This is exactly how I would handle it. I ain't taking no chances. So what if I could get back in there and it seemed okay? No. Now, if I'd have had to fix 78 different things already and it did that, yes, I would probably be like, yeah, we're just going to try to restore this and get back where we left off. But since we've only had to fix one thing, it's not that big of a deal. So I would rather not take the chance and start over. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to extract that. Damn it, I do that every time. We're going to WinRAR that and extract it back to the documents here. And then we're going to go update it because I forgot to do that last time. So we're going to go back in here. Right click the EXE. More options. Switch Unreal Engine version. We're going to go to Unreal Engine 5. Pretend like 5.2 don't exist. Technically, we already know how to fix this. But that's not getting to, well, what the hell is actually broken then? We'll figure this out. Believe me, you guys have no idea how persistent I am. Okay, so we already know the one problem. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that. We're going to go into the player blueprints and we're going to open up the player state. And we're going to replace this deprecated node. Get player name. Now, why did they do that? Like, why, literally, why did they do that? That one simple modification there, why in the hell did they do that? All right. I don't know. They did, though. Okay. So now we're going to go set it back up for 2 players. So I'm going to kind of just do this. Are you guys taking a bet over in chat? Do you guys believe I will figure this out before this stream ends or no? Place your wagers over there. Okay. All right. All right. We are right back to where we were before I crashed it and blowed something up. So where are we? We know that recompiling and resaving all the blueprints had no effect, other than it made it break worse, and we would have had to restore it, maybe. So we're not going to do that again. I already know that it's going to crash, so if I was to go ahead and try to host here, join here, we already know it's going to crash. We also already know that we can package this and it'll work. That's our last resort. And we know that it seems to be an editor problem. Because if it was a scripting problem, meaning if there was something wrong with one of these blueprints in here, it would do it when you packaged it as well. Would it not? That's my logic. That's what I'm thinking. If it was something in the character blueprint that needed change, the player controller, even if I packaged it out, it would still crash. Would it not? You would assume that it would. So we've got it narrowed down to we believe it's something to do with the editor. But we need the editor to be able to make our modifications, add our updates to the game, and host one here, join one here, and we need to be able to play and test it. Last resort, we can package it, test it. If it works, good. If it don't, we come back, make modifications, package it again. You guys know that would be redundant as hell, honestly. So the goal here would be, we need to be able to figure out why we can't host here and join here without it crashing the editor. That's what we need. So that's where we are. So the very next thing that I noticed, which you guys probably noticed too, after we did the blueprint compiling, was when I host this up here, you guys are going to see that it says something, there's an error about the landscape. So I said we should probably rebuild those. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go open these maps. So we're going to open the test map 1. And we are going to say build, and we're going to say build all levels. But let's try this. I don't know what the hell this would have to do with anything, but maybe. Who the hell knows? I didn't build this engine. Well, now it says maps need lighting rebuilt. Well, isn't that what I just did? Oh, well, there it went. It was lagging. Okay. So map check complete, 0 errors, 0 warnings. So now we're going to resave that. Save all. And let's go ahead and just open map 2. And we're going to do the same thing. Build. And we're going to say build all levels. And we'll just go ahead and rebuild all the levels and see if what would that have to do with it? I don't know, but you never know. And that is in fact an error, so it's worth doing, right? Now, if you have complex levels, this might be a pain in the ass to do, right? It might take hours to rebake your lighting and all that, but these are just, hey. Oh, there it went. Did you guys see that? Did you see that? Did you see how weird that terrain looked for a split second after I rebuilt it? That's something to make a note of, right? Like, okay, well, that was fucking weird. Why did it do that? It didn't do it on the first level, I don't think. But that was weird. You guys saw that. Make a note of that. That's weird. So let's go ahead and open up the single player level, even though we ain't even made it to that yet. Let's go ahead and build, and we're going to say build all levels. Let's do that one. And we're even going to build the main menu. Even though there's nothing in it, we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. Just to be 100% sure that that ain't something doing that. Why would the map have anything to do with it not playing in the editor? I don't know. It's an error. Let's fix it. Okay. Let's do a save all. Now let's open the main menu. And we're going to go ahead and even do this one. Build all levels. Wouldn't it be some shit if this actually fucking fixed it? Explain that one if that's the case. Okay, save all. All right, here we go. You got your fingers and toes crossed. So multiplayer, host game, host game. Now, you're going to see that the error that we had in the map is gone. It should be because we rebuilt it. Why did it break out in the first place? I don't know, but it did. So now let's see. Find games. Before I mash this button, you guys lay your wagers down. Was this the magic formula to get this to work? Nope. Okay. So, we're going back. That didn't do it. What do you guys think? Any ideas? Where do we go from here? I'm not going to recap everything that we've tried. But what do we do now? Right? Like, where do we go from here? It's not scripting. It's the actual editor. We recompiled all the blueprints. That's not it. That wasn't it. We rebuilt the maps. That didn't seem to be it. Where do we go from here? It works in a packaged build. Well, guys, ladies, gentlemen, I do not know. I wonder what happens if we don't try to use the menu. So, you guys know that your main menu is basically a map that ain't got nothing in it. Okay? It's just a map. So, when you play from the main menu, you're opening a map, but there just ain't nothing in it, and you've got this widget here that's got these buttons. You guys know this. And we've tried going through the menu, and that breaks. Works in a package build, but for some reason inside the editor, when we try to host here, join here, it breaks. So let's try this. What happens if I just try to do it from the menu, not from the menu, but from the level? So if I hit play here, red team, blue team. There we are. It works. So it doesn't seem to be an issue. Once again, it's not scripting, I don't think. But why is it when we do this from the main menu, it breaks? But before we go any further, I want to talk about this discovery that we just made here. And the fictional scenario that we're trying to fix. So we can package this and it works fine. So the players are not affected. The problem is that when we go through the main menu, it does this. So, and we said that what we could have done was we could do our updates, package the build, and test it. And if it doesn't work, do more updates, package the build, and test it. So the goal was to get that menu system to work so that we wouldn't have to keep doing that. Now, if we join from the level instead of going through the main menu, are the updates that you're doing, is it necessary for you to go through the main menu? No, not really. Because let's say that the update is that I'm adding weapons to these characters. I can put the weapons on the character. I can get the weapons shooting. I can get the particle effects playing, the sounds and all that. I can get all that working and tested by going straight to the map and not going through the menu. So, as long as the updates that we're fictitiously doing here does not require us to use the menu, we're fine, right? We can do updates, test it in editor like this. When we get them all done, we package it out. The menu does not seem to be affected in a packaged build, so the players will not be affected. But we still need to figure out what's broke here, because I said that I would figure this out one damn way or the other. So there's the solution. Okay, we just can't do any updates to the menu until we figure out what's causing this, or Epic Games does an update and Unreal Engine 5.2 comes out. We open it and upgrade it to 5.2, and magically that problem goes away. Okay, and we already know that's true because we did it in yesterday's video. You guys remember that? So let's pretend for a moment that Unreal Engine 5.2 doesn't exist. Okay, so where does that leave us right now? Well, we've got a way that we can continue to do our updates, which is supposed to release next month to our players. We promised them the update on such and such date. We're working on the game. We're doing our updates. Everything is right with the world. We can do our updates. We can test. We don't have to package after every damn thing we do, because we can not go through the main menu. However, we can join the map and go in this way. Okay? Both players. See? And that's also true for map number 2, right? So I would imagine if we're doing map number 2, we could do the same exact thing. We can just join in straight from the level and skip going through the menu. See how that works? So let's pretend for a moment in this fictional update, what we're actually doing is creating new maps, right? Let's say that we're actually building a map instead of looking at my crappy Flatville here. So the updates are we're adding new maps. And so we're building buildings, we're putting assets in, we're sculpting terrain, we're putting in creeks and leaves and trees and whales and snails. We can do those updates, and we can play test those updates because we can join straight into the level. And that makes no difference if it's doing updates to map 1, map 2, map 10, map 50, map 80. You just cannot use, for whatever reason, the main menu. However, in this example of my project, guess what you get to do when you host a game? You get to pick what map you want to play on. So if you can't use the menu in editor, that could be a problem. However, since it's not affecting the players, it doesn't really matter. Now, I suppose it would matter if you added, let's say that we added 4 maps. We would have to add them to our menu here. Would we want to test to see if those maps open? Well, we could test, because the part that's broken is when a client tries to join, right? So if we host a game on map 1, there we are. And if we want to test if map 2 is working, we just simply do this again. And this time around, we pick map 2. Why is that blacked out like that? That's bugging me. We might actually even try to fix that all of a sudden. Okay, so see there, it opens map 2. So in hypotheticalville, if we added 10 new maps, it really wouldn't matter, as long as we add them to our menu, right? We add them to the spot here so that they show up in this menu. We could still test that they open. Now, could we test if players could join? No, not really. But I would say that as long as you've got it named correctly in here, you know, that would be fine. It'd be a risk, but it would at least it would at least not stop your development. Okay. Now, so I'm noticing something here that's bugging me that I'm actually going to fix. And that's how I do, guys. I mean, when I'm deving, I'm literally, oh, well, shit, I didn't notice that. That's a new thing that's bugging me. See how when I hit this here, it's highlighted in blue, but you can't hardly read it. And then this one here, you can't even hardly see it. See that? Well, that's bugging me. So I'm actually going to see if I can fix that shit right quick. All right. So what is that? That is the widget. That is a widget. That is the... What the hell is that? The server settings. That's what that is. So that would be this widget right here, server settings. So I'm going to fix that. So if I select this box over here, which magical button over here do we need to change in order to make that where we can see it better? Let's see. Font. Nope. Maybe item style. Text color. What happens if we turn that white? Is that how we fix this magical problem here all of a sudden? Multiplayer, host game. Well, I can see it now. Do you see it? That's at least better than it was. I'm not the UI guy, by the way. So let's go in here and actually fix all these. Let's just turn the text color to white. That's at least better than it was. You couldn't even see it before. God, this is not the problem you said you was going to solve. We'll figure it out, okay? Just calm down. Cool your tits. I'm just kidding. I know you guys ain't aggravating me over there. I am making this video for a person that wanted me to do it exactly this way. Funnily enough. Okay, so this admin, this has got those drop downs too, so we just as well go ahead and change these to be white too. See, if I sit in here, I get hung up in these details, right? And I'm like, oh God, I got to do this. Okay. Now let me go back and look at that and see if that's a little bit more tolerable. Yeah, I can see that fine. I don't like that blue highlight, but I can at least see it. Okay. Before I couldn't even see the one listed under it. So let's make sure all of them are that way. That's fine. See, all those would have been black. The text would have been black. So that's better than it was. Okay. Now, where were we and what the hell are we doing again? Okay. We're going to figure this out. Sorry, I'm getting me a drink here. And it may seem like to you, some of you guys, that we're just doing a waste of time here. This is how you do it. This is how you troubleshoot. This is how you try to do diagnostics. Especially if you don't think it's your problem. See, I'm still convinced that this is an engine problem. This is not a me problem. In other words, I'm convinced this is an Epic problem, not a me problem. And I'm convinced of that for a couple reasons. One is, if we package the project, it works fine. It's only when we're in the editor that this is a problem. We looked through all the blueprints, we recompiled them, we resaved them. If there was any deprecated nodes or anything like that, when you, even if the engine doesn't detect it automatically when you try to play, if you recompile the blueprint and try to save it, it will tell you right there, hey, wait a minute, this is broke, okay? I could probably open a different project and give you guys examples of that, but trust me, that's what it does. And we went through every blueprint in this project, including the widgets, and didn't find a problem. So I'm still wondering, what do we do now? Now, I do know something that, okay, so now guys, this is because Unreal Engine 5 has been out as long as it has, that I'm going to share this information with you guys. If you were to pretend that this just came out, this engine just came out, you may or may not know this. But believe it or not, as crazy as it may sound, I actually read the release notes. What's new? And the reason that I do that is mainly because I want to see if they've added something that I actually give a shit about. Now, you guys know that one of the big selling points for Unreal Engine 5 was the what do they call it? The world building tools. Like, they did an update so that they had better world building tools. Like, they had better sky spheres, and all this stuff. So if you guys will know, what we did was we took a Unreal Engine 4.15 project here, and I didn't change anything. I just literally upgraded it from 4.15 to 5. Now, this map is still using all the old shit. Okay? So what I mean when I say it's still using all the old shit, it's still using the old sky sphere. It's still using the old landscape terrain. I believe these are just these little cubes that I put in here, this little cube, and I've resized it and stretched it and moved it and did all that, and I made these little walls and all that crap. Okay, so I'm not using any of that new stuff. And every single map that I have in here is that way. I'm using all the old crap. And when I rebuilt this level here, do you guys see how I've sculpted on this terrain? You guys know what I did here, basically. I just popped up some mountains in this terrain so that if you were on map 2, you would notice that it was a little bit different than map 1. So I'm not a map builder and I'm not an art guy. I'll just tell you guys that straight up. But I did notice something odd whenever I rebuilt the lighting and all levels and all that crap. Did you guys remember what happened to this terrain? Now, it didn't do that, I don't think, when I rebuilt this one. It didn't do any weird shit with the terrain. But when I rebuilt this one, this terrain I sculpted. And when I rebuilt it, it did something really weird. You guys, you might have to go back in the video and watch it. But I remember pointing it out to you guys. I was like, what the hell happened to that terrain all of a sudden? So I'm going to rebuild this terrain here just to see if I can recreate that problem. So before I do that, let me say this. There's a difference between being able to find a problem and being able to recreate the problem. So what do I mean when I say that? Well, here's what I mean. We can consistently recreate the problem that we're having, which is host one on the left screen, right? Host one, join from the right screen. We can recreate that crash every single time that we try it. Same as when I recompiled all those blueprints. Remember, I recompiled, saved it, and it turned it back dirty again. Then I had to recompile it and resave it again. I couldn't do that every single time. What would happen if you compiled a blueprint, saved it, and it turned back dirty again? You compiled it, saved it again, and it turned back dirty again. Then that would lead you to investigate a little bit further. You'd be like, why does this blueprint keep turning dirty? And then you would start poking around in your blueprint, looking through the nodes and stuff like that, and you may find something. Why? Well, it's because you could recreate it. In other words, every time I compile, save, it turns dirty. But you guys seen when we went through that process here, I recompiled it, saved it, it turned dirty. But the second time that I did that, which I did that so that I could try to recreate that, it didn't do it again. So when you encounter a problem, it's a good idea for you to try to recreate it, because if you can recreate it consistently, that might lead you down a particular path in order to get to the riddle of what the hell is going on. So I'm going to rebuild this level here and see if I can recreate what happened to this map. Now, well, once again, that guy's paying for these videos, so he wants to know, well, what led me to believe that? What led me to think this might be something that needs to be investigated further? Well, whenever I rebuilt it, they built all levels, and I pointed that out. I was like, what the hell happened to the terrain? Do you guys remember? It looked all square looking. Well, as we were continuing on with our diagnostics, I had that in the back of my mind going, surely the hell that don't have anything to do with it. But then again, maybe it did. And what led me to believe that was what I just mentioned to you guys a moment ago. One of the big selling points for this Unreal Engine 5 versus Unreal Engine 4 was it came with a whole bunch of new landscaping, world building shit, right? Like the ability to make creeks, and you guys know I'm not that guy. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that. But I do know that we rebuilt this level and this terrain freaked out. I do know that Unreal Engine 5 came with some new world building tools. I do know that. I do also know that they have changed the way that terrain works in the engine. I do know that. And let me tell you guys how I do know that. So if you look over here, well, before we do that, let me just go ahead and rebuild these damn levels here. See if I can even recreate that, right? So we're going to say build all levels and watch the terrain, and let's see if it flips the hell out again. And then we'll talk more about why I'm going down this path. Well, I seen the lights flicker, flinch just a little bit, but it didn't do what it did a minute ago, okay? Unless I blinked and missed it, but I don't think that it did. But you guys go back in the video and watch. I promise you that I'm high, or it actually did turn that damn terrain really strange looking. Okay? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But I'm pretty sure it did. So let's save that. Let's go back to map 1. And let's reopen map 2. Oh, did you guys see it? Did you see what I just saw? Let me try that again. Go to map 1. And we're just going to straight up open map 2. And look at the terrain when I open this map. Did you see that? Now, God damn it, I know you guys just saw that. I'm not losing my mind here. I'm not high. You guys saw that. Look, I'll do it one more damn time. So we're going to open map 1. And nothing really happens here because this is flat. See that? So let's open map 2. Watch the terrain as the very moment that it opens. Did you see that? I know you saw that. So, I first noticed that when I built the level to cure the lighting problem that we was having. It flipped out whenever I rebuilt it. Remember how whenever I rebuilt the level, it kind of froze up for a minute while I was sitting there waiting to finish building the level? I was like, why is that stuck all of a sudden? Oh, it ain't, or no, it had a map error in the screen and it hadn't gone away. And I was like, well, why is this map error? Oh, it's just froze and it kind of let go. Remember? That's when I saw it flip out, the landscape flip out, and it flipped out for a lot longer than it does by just opening the map. And we cannot recreate the bug by rebuilding it. But what we can do is get a glimpse of it, right? So if we open map 1 and then we open map 2, watch that terrain. Did you see that? So, as far as for the person who funded this video, and thank you very much for that, by the way, you made my whole entire month by doing what you did. So I'm going out of my way to try to share as much of my mentality as I can with you because you earned it. You paid for it. So anyway, why am I on this kick? Well, the reason I'm on this kick now, I mean, I know you guys think I'm chasing a crazy rabbit down a hole that's going nowhere. What in the fuck would the damn level terrain have to do with the goddamn level not allowing a client to join? And if that was an issue, well, then explain to me why you package the build and it works out of the editor. Explain to me why the bug that when we get it to crash and we bring up the bug report, why does everything in there have something to do with play and editor and it has something to do with the editor? Why are you chasing this stupid terrain idea? Well, let me tell you why I'm chasing this terrain idea. First of all, why did upgrading to this engine version cause the damn lighting not to be correct anymore and it had to be rebuilt? Why? Every other project that I have ever upgraded in Unreal Engine 4, when I went from 4.15 to 4.16, it didn't break my maps. When I went from 4.16 to 4, it didn't break my maps. When I went from 4.17 to 4, every single time I have upgraded a project, it has never broken my lighting. However, when I took this project from Unreal Engine 4 and I upgraded it to Unreal Engine 5, one of the very first things that I noticed, other than when we tried to spawn in and it told me to go look into the player state and that node was deprecated, I noticed that the lighting was broken. I know that. The lighting was broke. It had the error, remember? I also know that one of the selling points for Unreal Engine 5 has to do with the way the world building is. Right? I do know that. I also know that if you were to compare the visual look of Unreal Engine 4.15 to Unreal Engine 5, you're going to notice that it visually looks different. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. And once again, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't know if there's going to be more videos. This guy made a really great contribution to my YouTube channel. So I'm going above and beyond for this guy. And if I end up having to make 3 or 4 videos, so be it. But I've never really shared this specific kind of information ever. But I am now. So G Street Games, G Street Games, whenever he was joking and he said, no desire to create a cult of personality, that's it, unsubbing. This is part of what I'm talking about. This conversation, and literally what I'm doing here is having a conversation with the person who funded this video. Even though you guys are in chat and hanging out, I'm talking to him. Me and him are game devs, and we're on a team together, and we've got to get this figured out. We've got to figure out what in the fuck happened here. Because we have 3 games, and we have customers dependent on us. Our money is dependent on us. Our revenue is dependent on us. Our reputation as game devs is dependent on this. So I'm literally having a conversation like I'm his co-dev. This is our company. This is our game, and we're trying to be the best goddamn game devs we can be. Okay? In other words, a poke behind the screen. This is what should be going on at any legitimate game studio. They should be working together to solve problems and bring out the best in each other, not try to, well, you're a dumbass, right? Like, could you imagine if I was to send Epic Games an email or something and say, hey, why the fuck is this breaking? Why does this keep breaking? And they said, we don't know. It's your shit project. Could you imagine if I was to say to them, are you sure you guys ain't got something going on with the fucking new way you're doing terrain or some of this bullshit that's causing this problem? Right? They would laugh at me and say, you're a fucking idiot. What in the hell, especially if they were participating in this live stream right now? They'd be like, well, that ain't got nothing to do with it, because if it did, when you package the build, the terrain's still in there. So what the hell would that have to do with anything? Right? So they would literally laugh me off the face of the earth. But I'm telling you guys, there is some sort of a correlation here. Okay? And we're going to get to the goddamn root of it, one way or the other. Every project that I have ever done, regardless of how much sculpting I have ever did on the terrain, I have never opened a map and have it do that it just did again right there. I've never had that happen. So there's something weird going on with this goddamn terrain. Now, okay, back to, let's get to the root of this problem. Why am I going down this path? What's happening here and what I'm able to reproduce should not be happening. It shouldn't. The lighting should not have been broken by simply upgrading to a new engine version, and it did. The way that the characters look different in Unreal Engine 4 versus Unreal Engine 5. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. And we don't even need 2 windows to do this. Let me go back to one window for a second here. And let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's see here. We need to go back to one player. And we need to play standalone. And we need to play in selected viewport. So what I'm talking about here is the brightness of this character, the way the shadows look, the rendering. Let's just call it that. Remember, guys, I'm not the art dude. Okay, I'm not the art dude. But I know that this looks different. This same project looks different in Unreal Engine 5 than it does in Unreal Engine 4. And I could prove that to you guys. Like, if I was to go, well, here, I'll show you exactly what I can do. And then we're going to conduct some tests here, and we'll see if we can figure out what in the hell is going on. Remember, I said we're going to figure this out one damn way or the other. Okay. So we're going to open test map 1 here. And what we're going to do is we're going to extract another version of this, and we're going to leave it in Unreal Engine 4. Okay. So we're going to say, extract files. We're going to put this in my documents in Unreal Projects, and we're just going to say go. I can't do that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put it on the desktop instead, because I've obviously already got that in there, so that ain't gonna work. But I believe we can just stick it on the desktop. I mean, even if I broke it, we could go back and fix it. But I want to try to give you guys a side-by-side comparison of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so let's just open the map. And remember, this is Unreal Engine 4. So we're going to open the exact same map, which is test map 1. And we're going to spawn this character in the lobby. Right there. And if we go back into Unreal Engine 5, and we hit play, and we spawn that character in the lobby, what I'm talking about is the rendering of these lights and shadows and graphics looks more washed out to me in Unreal Engine 5 versus Unreal Engine 4. Let's see if I can get them looking in the exact same place. Well, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe, no, this is Unreal Engine 4 here. So, I mean, you may not be able to tell on live stream, but let me just alt tab back and forth between these here. Wait a damn minute. What the hell? I can't do it that way. I literally have to do it that way. Guess so. Well, anyway, what I'm saying is that I can tell a difference in the rendering of the graphics. Now, the next thing that I want to do is, all right, fine, okay. We're going down this rabbit hole. It's got something to do with the new rendering that they're doing in Unreal Engine 5. It's either got something to do with that. It's got something to do with the new world building tools that they have. Or something to that effect. And we're going to start trying to go down this hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in Unreal Engine 4 for a second and see if we can recreate that problem in here. So you guys remember what the problem was? Not the not being able to join problem. The problem with the way the damn terrain flips the hell out. Right? Now remember, in that other one, all I had to do was open map 2. Let me get up here where we can see, and let's see if that same problem exists. So we're going to open map 1. Now let's open map 2. Damn it. Is it going to literally make it where I have to damn rebuild this? Let me rebuild this real quick so that it keeps the camera view where I'm looking at. But I believe it's doing the same thing in Unreal Engine 4. Maybe this is a stupid rabbit hole to go down. Maybe it ain't. If it's doing that same flipping the terrain thing out in Unreal Engine 4, maybe it's something else, right? So let's save this. All right, now let's open map 1 and then open map 2. Yep, it's doing the same thing in Unreal Engine 4. All right. I still believe that it's got something to do with that. So I closed Unreal Engine 4 down. And let's continue testing here to see if this is what we can do here. Okay. how can we determine if it is something to do with the landscape? Never mind the sky sphere and all that stuff. Never mind that. Wonder what would happen if we just delete the damn terrain, right? Like if I just do this, if I just delete the damn terrain completely, okay? Now, of course, when I spawn in here, I'm going to fall, but let's just see if that cures the problem, okay? So let's go back to the main menu. Actually, let me... Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to have to save it, right? So I deleted the terrain. So let's open the main menu. Let's go ahead and save this. And let's see if we can recreate that problem. All I did was delete the damn terrain. I mean, how hard is that? So we hit play. We got to go back to 2 windows, right? So let's go back to 2 players and new editor windows. Multiplayer, host game, join, and the terrain is gone, and we're just going to fall to infinity and beyond. Now let's go to multiplayer, find games. You guys remember where it crashes? Place your money. Is this actually going to do anything? I suspect it ain't going to make a damn difference, but it's worth a shot, okay? Holy shit. Are you fucking kidding me? There's no goddamn way that that just fixed it. No way. Let me try that again. This is some bullshit right here. Let me just try that one more damn time. There's no fucking way that that just happened. Okay. Multiplayer, find games. Join. You have got to be fucking shitting me. I'm in. I'm at a loss for words here. Right? I'm literally at a loss for words here. Now, once again, we got to go back to being able to reproduce it. Okay? So let's go back into test map 1 and let's just simply add the terrain back, right? So if we go up here to landscape and we just simply click create, right? Isn't that essentially the same thing? So let's go ahead and go out of landscape mode. So there, we put the landscape back. Let's go ahead and rebuild it while we're here. So build all levels. If this is actually what the problem is, this is something that just absolutely has baffled me. What in the hell would that have to do with anything to do with a joining in the editor? I don't get that. Like literally, I don't get it. But if let's reproduce it, right? So all I did was put the landscape back. That's it, right? Rebuilt it and put the landscape back the exact same way that it was. So we're going to save everything. And now let's go back to the main menu. And we hit play, multiplayer, host game. Works fine on this left screen, always has, and we're in. Now let's go to multiplayer, find games. And join. And there's the crash. You have got to fucking be kidding me. That is exactly where we started, right? This is the problem. Now, we're going to go back in this project, re-delete the terrain, and try it again and see if we can get back in. We need to pinpoint that that is actually what did that. Right now, for you guys and the guy that funded this video, so we deleted the terrain and it worked. Fail forever, obviously, because there's no terrain, but it didn't black screen when we tried to join from that right hand screen as a client connecting to the listen server. It didn't crash. The moment that I re-put the terrain back, and I put the terrain in using Unreal Engine 5. So if it was a problem, okay, so we started out in Unreal Engine 4, and I upgraded from Unreal Engine 4 to 5. So if they redid the way that the terrain works or something, it looks to me like if you deleted the terrain, right, and recreated a new terrain in Unreal Engine 5, any discrepancy that would have been from trying to go from 4 straight to 5 would have been corrected, wouldn't it? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we're not done going down this rabbit hole quite yet, but it's looking really fucking weird to me. Okay, so we crashed it. Okay, so there's no reason to re-crash it. What we need to do is see if we simply delete the terrain again, does that fix it? So I select the terrain, I hit delete, save all. Does it have to do with the lighting maybe? I don't know. We'll get to the crux of it. So I deleted the terrain. Now we're going to go back to map 1. We're going to hit play, host us up a game, and we're going to fall forever because we have no terrain. We're going to find a game. And right here is where it would crash, right? The moment that I click this button, it would black screen and crash. There's the team select menu. We pick the team. We're spawned into the same level as that guy is, but he's falling forever too. So it is the terrain. Let me bring Chad over here and say hello to you guys. Even though he funded this video, I'm going to take a pause here for a minute because I'm literally at a gasp here as to why the fuck this is causing this issue. So let me say hello to everyone. I don't know what that name is. Hummel. Hello. Hello to you. Hello, Oni. Hello, G Street Games. Greetings, John. Hope you're having a good weekend. Glad to see you streaming today. Well, thank you very much. No desire to create a cult of personality. That's unsubbing. That's it. I'm unsubbing. No, I don't want that. There's the link. I believe that's to the Google Drive where you guys can get this project as well as another one for free if you guys want it. Contributions and donation via PayPal are greatly appreciated. Let's see. If there is a dependency of one blueprint in another, it will require a resave. You are correct. Lumen and world partitioning. In 5X, both are enabled by default, but when bringing from 4X, Lumen is not. Although I believe world partitioning is, it tends to cause trouble. Let's see here. I think you going down this path is correct. A lot of problems with world partitioning I have had were isolated in the engine playthroughs, typically associated with HLODs. The new partitioning system causes a lot of issues, and terrain is one of the worst affected. let's see here. If your initial map was 4x and you use terrain in 5x, that is most likely the issue. If you create a new map from scratch in 5x, it should work. And hello, Oni. So that's exactly where I was going next. I was like, okay, what happens if we just create a brand new map? Well, that solved the issue. But before I went down that route, I wanted to verify that we could recreate this, because I didn't want to chase my tail around in a circle. And also, we're pretending like that it's not just a flat piece of terrain. Like, we're pretending like that this is an actual game where the terrain has already been precisely sculpted and the trees have been set precisely where they wanted to be. The buildings have been built the way that they are meant to be, right? That's what we're pretending here. So, turns out, if we open this map, and let's pretend that that is actually what happened. So we already had our world built. And come to find out that the terrain, for some fucking reason, which is beyond me, the terrain is preventing this from working in the editor. However, in a packaged build, we validated that it worked just fine. It's only in the editor that this is an issue. So we figured out a workaround, obviously, which was, well, until you start dicking with having to use the menu, there is a way to get around this, which is spawn directly into the level. However, turns out that the terrain is actually what's causing this problem in the editor. So, if we had already had our world built, the landscape sculpted, the terrain built, the buildings built, the trees built, the foliage built, the streams put in, the spawn points located, the lighting environment set. Let's pretend we had all that done. Well, at this point right here, we would be absolutely fucked. Okay? We would be literally fucked right here. Because what that would mean is, if we really want to solve this issue, we would literally have to delete the terrain and create a new map. Okay? Which means we would have to resculpt everything. At a bare minimum, maybe we could leave all the buildings and trees and grass and structure and foliage. Maybe we could leave all that where it's at, delete the terrain, and then put in a new terrain. Well, we can't even do that because I just did that and it still had the same problem. So it would literally have to be probably the creation of an entirely new fucking map from nothing. Wow. Do you guys realize how much work and time goes into map creation, level creation? That can literally take months to do. Depending on how OCD you are, that could literally take a year to do. Those people are crazy. I don't see how in the hell they can stand doing that. Moving every little rock and tree and shrub and tweaking the light. Oh, fuck all that. Like literally. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to test what G Street Games said. What we're going to do is we're going to say, well, we're just going to create a brand new map. First, I want to validate this one more damn time. So what I'm going to do is, from the main menu, we already deleted this, and it works, right? I'm going to try this a couple times just to be 100% sure that it's the goddamn terrain doing this, okay? And from the test so far, it seems like that's exactly what it is. But I just want to be sure, because this is baffling to me why this would cause this problem. So we're going to go back to the main menu. We're going to hit play. We're going to go multiplayer, host game, go. We're in as the server, Fallen Forever. We're going to find the game. We're going to search. And we're going to click. We're there. And it works. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into map 2, because remember, map 2, I still have the terrain in here. Remember that? So now, and remember from the menu, we can select what map we open. Okay? So we're going to do this again. And we're going to go to multiplayer, host game, and we're going to change it to go to map 2, which is a map that still has the terrain, right? So we're going to host it up and go in here, and voila, there it is, and there's the terrain. Now we're going to try to join and see if it fucking crashes again. So find games. And black screen and crash. There it is, guys. There it is. It is the terrain that is causing this problem. It literally is the landscape causing this problem. Wow. Well, who fucking saw that coming? I didn't see that coming. I thought I was just pissing in the wind. But there it is. There it is. Now, let me collect myself here for a second. Let me bring Chad over here. So you could probably copy pasta your actors into the new map to save time, but I'm not 100% confident it would work like 90 though. Just leave any lighting and terrain related stuff out. Okay. I mean, how long do we want to spend on this problem? Could we figure out some sort of workaround? Yeah, we probably could. But here's the thing, right? So now, if you watched yesterday's video, I want to show you guys a couple other things that are baffling to me. So before we create a new level from scratch, I want to talk about a few things here, and then we'll try that. So here's what I know for a fact. I know that in Unreal Engine 4.15 forward, it works fine. Up and until Unreal Engine 5. And we're pretending like Unreal Engine 5 just came out, even though it's been out. So this is a problem. Now, if we did not have an alternative, we would literally have to continue working down this rabbit hole. Okay, well, fine. We've narrowed it down. It's the fucking terrain. So if we delete the terrain, it works. Problem is we have no terrain. If we try to create a new terrain in the new engine, it still does the exact same thing. So the only other option I can see at this point would be to create a brand new level from scratch and see what happens. I would wager to guess that it would just work magically. No rhyme, no reason. It would literally just fucking work. The problem is we're pretending like we have a game that's already got an entire world built around it. Okay? So before we do that level testing to see if that'll do it, what I want to make you guys aware of, for those of you who didn't watch yesterday's live stream, is we took this from Unreal Engine 4.15 and we upgraded it to 5. We got to the point we are now. We corrected the player state deprecated node, but regardless, we never could get it to work in the editor. We did not test a packaged build yesterday's video. We did today. So we narrowed it down that the issue is in the editor because we packaged the build and it worked flawlessly. Then for some reason, I decided to go down this rabbit hole of thinking that it had something to do with the new world building system they put in Unreal Engine 5, Lumen, blah, blah, blah. I'm not the artsy fartsy guy, so I didn't pay much attention to that. So we deleted the landscape. Okay, we literally deleted the landscape and it worked. Then we tried to recreate the landscape in Unreal Engine 5 and it broke again. We deleted the landscape again and it worked fine. We tried to open a map that had a landscape in it and it still wouldn't work. So we have it narrowed down to it's the landscape. Something to do with it. For what reason, I don't fucking know. Now, here's what's really baffling. Why is it that I can upgrade this project from 4.15 straight to Unreal Engine 5.2, which we're pretending like doesn't exist, and magically it works? So before we do the new level thing, I want to demonstrate that for you guys that didn't watch yesterday's stream. I want to answer this for myself. I've got to know. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to delete that project out of my documents here. We're going to empty the recycle bin. Then we're going to re-extract it again. Ah, damn it. I do that every time. So we're going to go to show more options. Extract. Oh, no. Shit, I'm already getting ahead of myself. I'm so confounded right now that my brain's not screwed on correctly. This is fucking insane to me. So we're going to WinRAR. We're going to say extract files. We're going into my documents, Unreal projects, and we're going to see, okay. Then we're going to upgrade it to Unreal Engine 5.2. Okay. So we're going to go in here and we're going to go into my documents. We're going to go into Unreal projects. We're going to right click and we're going to say show more options. And we're going to say switch Unreal Engine version. And this time we're going straight to Unreal Engine 5.2, which is the most current engine version. Okay. And we're going to open it. And this is just for my own utter curiosity. So we already know that the player controller, the player state blueprint has a deprecated node in it that we're going to correct. We already know that. Right now, see, these errors didn't come up in Unreal Engine 5, but it's got some new ones here. It's updating to default player input class, blah, 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 whatever that is. So we're going into the blueprints, into the player, and we're going to open the player state, and we're going to correct this problem right here, which we found that long ago. Okay. Get player name. And we're going to plug this up, recompile it, and save it. Oh, see there? That's not it, though. That's not the damn problem. It's the fucking terrain. And this is baffling to me. So now we're going to go into the two windows, right? So we're going to go to advanced settings. And this is going to be 720 by 512. Okay. And then we're going to go listen server. And then we're going to go to 2 players. And we're going to go to new editor windows. And we're going to put the client over here on the right, same as we did. And the server over here on the left. And we're not even going to rebuild the lighting, right? Remember we tried just fixing the lighting in that other project? We're not even going to do that. We're going to go to multiplayer, host game. We're going to leave everything default and hit go. We spawn in, it's telling us our physical materials poked. We're going to join the team, and there we are. So now let's get to the part where it breaks in Unreal Engine 5. We're going to go to multiplayer, find games. We're going to search. It'll find the server. We're going to click it, and this is where it should crash. Bam. And then we go to blue team. And voila, there we are. So, now why did I just do what I just did? Well, the reason I did what I just did is I want to show you guys that it was and is the engine. Now, I want you guys to think about this for a second. Pretend like this version of the engine we're using right now doesn't exist. We're on 5.0. It just came out. So 5.1 doesn't exist. 5.2 doesn't exist. None of those exist. We encountered a problem that we could recreate every single time we could recreate it. We tried several methods to try to fix it. We could package the build and it would work outside of the editor. It worked fine. The only place that we could recreate the problem was in the engine, in the editor. So we discovered that if you delete the terrain, it works. Why? I don't know, but it does. The moment that we put the terrain back, it breaks again. Even if we delete the terrain and add the terrain back using the new engine, Unreal Engine 5, it still does the same thing. If we delete the terrain on map 1, the problem does not exist. If we use the menu and try to open map 2 with a terrain, it won't work. So there is no doubt in my mind that it is in fact the terrain that was causing that issue. The question I have is, so we came to the conclusion that we could probably build a new level from scratch and it would work. And I agree with that assumption. I assume that if we just build a new map using the new stuff, it would work fine. The question that I wanted answered for myself is, could we recreate that problem in the newest engine version? And the answer to that is no. Because in yesterday's video, at the end of the video, I told you guys, just go to the newest engine version and you won't have to try to figure out what the fuck's broke. Okay? Because sometimes you think that it's something that you did as a developer that's causing the problem. And sometimes it is. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it is. Sometimes I go back and look at one of my old projects and I'm like, wow, why the hell did I do that way for? That's stupid. And I redo it and iterate on it and do it completely differently. But if you're new and you're just now learning how to start diagnosing and troubleshooting and learning how to game dev, bruh, not pretend to be one, literally really learning how to do this stuff, you need to know, is the problem something that you did, or is the problem something to do with the engine you're using? Because if it's something to do with the engine you're using, you are probably not going to be able to fix that. That's where you're going to have to submit a bug report and get to Epic and hope that they give a damn enough to address the issue that you're having. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because your customers are relying on you. You can't tell your customers, hey, it's Unreal Engine developers' fault. The reason my game's broken right now and you paid money for it and now you can't play it because it's broken, that's not my problem. It's because there's a bug in the engine that I don't have no control over fixing. That is the problem. Right? So that's part of the point of this discussion here. You need to know, is it something that I did wrong, or is it something that's broken in the engine? Now, this new version of the engine that I just used, 5.2, proves to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that it may not necessarily have anything to do with the landscape. Because if it was, in fact, the landscape that was causing the problem, how come it works in 5.2? right? Why? If it was literally the landscape using the old way, why does it work in 5.2? If it was literally the landscape, it wouldn't work in 5.2 either. Would it? I didn't do anything different. The only thing different is the engine version. So that leads me to believe that it is actually an engine problem. Now, I just wanted to point that out to you guys, okay? Never mind this stuff. I just wanted to do that experiment because that matters to me. And it also proves a point to the person that, you know, paid me to make this video for him. Sometimes you're trying to fix problems that ain't your problem. Sometimes you're trying to fix problems that's the problem with the engine itself or the editor itself. And that's a problem, literally. So let me bring Chad over here for a second. Let's see here. So Merc Guyver, hello Merc Guyver. So we get your point. 5.2 is better than 4.15. Actually, that's not correct. If you've watched me very much, you do realize that Unreal Engine 4.15 is the best engine version Epic Games has put out to date. Okay? But regardless of that, we're in Unreal Engine 5 now, so it's time to move on, I guess. But whatever, right? Whatever. Makes no difference to me. So now what we're going to do is, I guess we'll try making a new level thing and see if that solves it in the Unreal Engine 5, not 5.2. Okay? So we're going to try that, and I'm sure that it'll probably work. But the better question is, why is it broke in 5? Why would you have to do that in 5, but you don't in 5.2? Now imagine, before we do this, imagine this. What we said a minute ago. We've already built our level. We already have the terrain in. We have it sculpted just the way we want it. We have the hills just the way we want it. We've got the rocks put just where we want them. We've got the level buildings constructed, the rocks, the foliage. We've already got all that done. And now you're telling me we're going to have to build an entirely new level from ground zero to solve the problem? So I just wanted to point that out. We're playing pretend right now. So we're going to go do that. We're going to try the whole new level route and see if that solves it. So let's go in here and delete this. Okay, we're going to re-extract it again. Let's see. WinRAR, extract files to my documents, Unreal projects. Voila. We're going to go in here and upgrade it to Unreal Engine 5, not 5.2, because we know it works in 5.2, but 5.2 ain't out for a year and a half yet. We're pretending. Okay. So we go in here, we right click, we say show more options, switch Unreal Engine version. We go to 5 and we open this bad boy. We go fix the player state because we already broke. That was an easy fix, right? Why can't all of them be that easy? It's because they fucking can't. Okay, so let's go fix the player state blueprint under the player, blueprints player. So we fix this deprecated node. Get player name. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this up for 2 players. 720 by 512. And we go to play as a listen server, 2 players, and new editor windows. We put the client here and the server here. And we already know it's broke, right? So there's really no reason for me to crash this bitch again. We already know it's going to crash. If I host over here, join over here, it crashes. So there's no reason to do that. So we're going to create an entirely new level from scratch and see if that solves the problem. Okay. So here we go. I'm pretty sure this will solve the problem, but holy shit, if we'd already created our world using the old way, oh my God. I wouldn't do it. I literally wouldn't do it. So we're just going to simply copy the name here of this map, test map 01. We're going to delete it. And that's got rid of map 1. Yep, that's got rid of map 1. Let's go ahead and get rid of the build data too. We don't need that either. Oh no, that's the single player. Wait a minute. Where did it auto delete the... Yeah, it did. Okay, so now we go up here and we're going to make a new level. File, new level, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this open world level. Create. There it is. And really all we need in order to spawn in here is a couple player starts. Okay, so in the blueprints under the gameplay, I'm going to drag in a couple player starts. And these will be for, let's see here, details. These will be for the, well, let's put a few for the lobby, right? We'll go ahead and put a few in here for the lobby. Okay. And now let's put a few for the red team. So we're going to switch these here over to be for the red team. We'll put in about 4 here. Maybe do 5. And then let's drag another one over here. Let's rotate it around. Maybe scoot it a pinch closer, and we'll set these ones to be for the blue team. And let's drag out quite a few of these. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and I'm just going to save it, save all, and save selected. And all I need to do is name it the way the old one was. So I'm going to hit Control V here, and I'm going to leave that named that way. And we are going to put that in the maps folder. Now, before I go on, I'm just going to spawn in here real quick just to make sure that it... Oh, I've got to set the game mode. See, I knew I needed to test this before I forget. So, in the level here, under the world settings, I need to make sure that I put in the Simple Steam Teams game mode. So, let me save that. Now, let's try to spawn again. There we go. Put red team. So, yep. And let's Alt Tab here. Go blue team. Yep. Okay. So now we go to the main menu. And we hit play. We host. Map 1. Red. There we are. Now we're going to see. What do you guys think? Before we do this, place your wagers. Is this going to correct the problem, yes or no? I say yes. So let's go to multiplayer, find games. And go. There it is. Bam. It worked. There it is. So yes, if you create a brand new map from scratch, it will solve that problem that we had. But why? Why? Because remember, we went from 4.15 straight to 5.2, and we didn't have to make a new level. But yet, going from 4.15 to 5, apparently, now there may have been another way to solve that. I don't know. But once we narrowed down that it was, in fact, the landscape that was causing the problem, new level. Yes, of course, that fixed it. But what if, I mean, think about it. Would we really have to come in here and rebuild the entire fucking level, sculpt all the hills again, put in all the creeks and the bridges and the buildings and the structures and the lighting and the sky domes and the torches with the lights on them? I mean, holy mother of Christ. That would be an insane amount of work. Okay, let me bring chat over here. I imagine it has to do with World Partitions additions and not using it. G Street Games, yes, he was guessing would it work or not, and yes, it did. Try converting the original to World Partition map. Let's see, I haven't used 5.2 yet, but I would assume they made it less painful to transition from 4X to 5.2 plus. That would be my guess as to why it works in 5.2. So Merc Guyver, I don't know how you do that, right? Like, how do you convert an old landscape to a World Partition map? I don't know how to do that. Maybe you can tell me how you do that, because I don't know. We do still have this one map in here that's got the terrain, right? It's in the drop down tools, if I remember. Oh, is it in the landscape tools? You're going to have to tell me where it's at, because I've never done that. I have no idea. You mean to tell me there's just a way to convert it? Let's see here. Let me wait for him to see if he can guide me. Top bar tools. List of world blueprints available. Oh, tools? Are you meaning this? Let's see here. Okay. Is this it? Convert level. And I suppose we would need to put it in the maps folder. Okay, so we would need to do map 2. In place. Would we click in place, right? I would imagine. Commandlet, world, partition, convert, commandlet. Is that it? And then we just click OK. Is that how we do this? I'm doing it. It'll either blow up or it won't. Let's see. I'm not the world builder, right? So some people may know that. I don't know that. Okay, so well, I mean, it looks like it's done whatever it is that it does. So I'm going to click OK here. and let's see what happens. Where the fuck did the terrain go? Maybe we got to load it, right? So let's highlight this and say right click, load selected cells. Oh, there it is. Hey, look at that. It's back. All right, now let's try this. Okay, so let's save everything and let's go back to the main menu and let's go to play, multiplayer, host game. We're going to host map 2. Join the red team, and there we are. And then we're going to go to find games. What do you guys think? Is that enough to get it done? I would say probably. That might fix it too. Let's see here. And we click, and it worked. So it did work. So we go to here. So there you go. There is the root of the problem, and there's the solve for the problem. So that's crazy. But, you know, wait a minute. Is there a hole in the wall over here? No, that's the tag. Okay, I was about to say, holy shit. So, if they were a world builder, like if that's what their job was at a game studio, they might have known that. Like they might have said, oh, okay, well, that's the problem. Convert it to the quote unquote, convert it to the new way, and that'll solve the problem. So that comment that was made earlier, let me go ahead and bring chat back over here. That comment that was made by G Street Games, I haven't used 5.2 yet, but I would assume they made it less painful to transition from 4 to 5.2. That would be my guess as to why it's working in 5.2. I would assume that you are correct. So what probably happens is that if you're using an old terrain style map, like from Unreal Engine 4, say, when you upgrade to Unreal Engine 5, it does not auto convert your world to that new, whatever he called it, right? But when you use Unreal Engine 5.2, it may detect, quote unquote, it may detect that old style landscape / map system, and it may auto convert it to what we just did. It may do that automatically. It may do that in Unreal Engine 5.1. I never checked it. I don't give a damn at this point. Okay? But it may auto convert it in Unreal Engine 5.1. It may do it in 5.2. And that may very well be the reason why we can go from 4 straight to 5.2, and it works right out of the box without us having to do anything to it. Okay? May. So there we go. So this has been a very, very long and in-depth video. So what did we learn, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we learned a lot. We learned a little bit about bug testing. We learned a little bit about upgrading projects. We learned a little bit about how engine versions change from one version to the next, to the next, to the next. We learned that sometimes those changes that they make can be extremely detrimental to your game dev process, to your customer base, your player base, to your mental health, right? I mean, could you imagine chasing this forever, trying to figure out why stuff don't work? Could you imagine having to just sit and wait for the next version of Unreal to come out, praying to the dev gods that they fixed your problem? So I hope that this has been an informative live stream for you guys. And for the person who funded this video, I thank you very much for your very considerable contribution that you made. I'm still blown away by that, so thank you for that. I hope this video is up to what your expectations were of what you wanted to do. And I will probably end up making one more video for you, since you made such a very large contribution, to continue the path that we are leading here. So that project that I mentioned at the beginning here that you guys can have for free, that TPS starter project, now that we got that solved with Unreal Engine 5, we don't necessarily even need to use Unreal Engine 5. We can go straight to Unreal Engine 5.2. Maybe in the next video that I make for you, we will take this simple Steam template that I gave you guys for free, and we will take this TPS starter template that I also gave you guys for free, and we will combine these two templates together so that not only do we have menus for Steam, we have a character that moves and shoots weapons like this character in this project. Maybe we'll try that in the next video. Okay, so let me bring Chad over here. Let's see. And that was a good catch, Merc Guyver. I'm not the world guy. I would have never known that. All I know is that shit was broke, and I didn't even know that there was such a thing as being able to convert the old way to the new way. I didn't even know that. And also kudos to G Street Games for thinking that I was going down the correct rabbit hole when I was trying to figure out what was breaking. And coming to the conclusion that it had something to do with the way the new engine does the landscape, sky dome, world building bullshit, right? And so kudos for you for that. And kudos to myself for having the patience and the wherewithal to talk through how I would go about solving that problem and how I got from point A to point B to get there. Even with the pointers and stuff that we were getting in chat, I was already going down that route. I think I had it nailed already, but we got it all worked out together. So thank you for G Street Games. I'm glad you solved it, John. Hope you keep on deving. Of course, I will always be deving something. Whether or not that be public or not, it depends on contributions to my cause here. I would like to build an entire game from ground zero on live stream. But you know, you can't give away all your little strategies and your tips and your tactics and all that. You can't give that all away, because if you do, well, then everybody can be as good as you are at what you do, which, why would somebody pay you if you know they can do it themselves? Obviously, which is why I have Udemy courses that I charge money for, and I have products that I sell that I charge money for, and the knowledge to be able to take these two and stick them together. Maybe I'll, you know, that's pretty much already been funded, so I guess I can go ahead and do that and leave it public on my live stream. But I only do this for funding, guys. If people don't make contributions to my PayPal or whatever, there's no reason for me to sit here and go through all this bullshit just because it gives me something to do. I got plenty to do without making these stupid ass videos. Okay, so Merc Guyver, that being my issue for the last 2 years, waiting for some feature or fix such as world partition, then it arrives broken. Isn't that always the way that it goes? Of course it is. So guys, I've talked till I'm about hoarse, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Saturday. I hope you guys found this live stream useful. I guarantee you there ain't nobody got the patience to watch this whole video. They're going to be fast forwarded. First, they'll fast forward through all the bullshit in the beginning. Then they'll fast forward to the part where I describe the problem, and then they'll fast forward all the way to the end to the fix. And they'll skip everything in between, which that's actually the most important part. Being able to get from problem detection, problem recreation, problem isolation, all the way to the solving of the problem and possible other solutions. That's the most important part of game dev. And if you leave that part out, you're not going to be worth a damn at doing this, ever. You're going to be able to have to follow step-by-step instructions, right? On someone holding your little hand and saying, step 1, open engine. Step 2, create world. Step 3, add landscape. Step 4, make character blueprint. You're never going to be worth a damn at deving if you can't tolerate all the mental processes that go on with finding problem, getting to solution. That's what makes you good at what you do, not being able to follow some jackass tutorial. And on my YouTube page, I try. In all my YouTube videos and in all my Udemy courses and in all the projects that I sell, I try to instill and share what I think makes me good at what I do. So that if you try to do and think sort of the same way that I do, hopefully it'll make you good too. And that's what I hope. So with that, you guys take care. This is John Galt. Feel free to make contributions via the link to my PayPal in the banner of my YouTube page if you choose to. And we will see you guys in another video in another time. Have a good one.